be flexed a lot whenever, it's gotta be a shift that they're flexed, that we can try to flex that time out so we can cover that shift to somebody's else.
Power shift.
And you gotta, and all that depends too, if it's gonna, because you gotta think, if you're getting a green officer, he's gonna be riding with another officer for what, 6 months?
Yeah.
Well, it's about 3 months.
3 months or whatever, before he's gonna be actually able to do what you need him to do,
Right.
is relieve other officers or be, so that's why I think if we can do it earlier than 2024, knowing that might be the case. You know, I don't know if you're gonna get a seasoned officer that'll come in and do that kind of shift.
Right.
So,
So on the prospect of moving that hire to 2023, if it's just a straight hire and there's no corresponding reduction in overtime, that might be tough to continue with the fiscal management goals of seeing that tax rate tick down. Might have to have that 1 year hiccup. Now, if the new hire is going to be kind of that very flexible person, the very flexible shift, and is going to help alleviate overtime, and suddenly that new hire that might have a total productive cost, not just wage, but total productive cost of, say, $125,000 a year roughly, but I think I can knock off 50 to 55,000 in overtime roughly, because there's always going to be some overtime. I mean, there's always going to be some. Then that's a pretty good discount on the hire, right? It's money that's already, half, 40% of that money that we would spend for a new officer is already left the door each year anyway, right? So if those two things hold true, yeah, I mean that could reasonably work. Otherwise we're already planning on 2024. So
I think we should look into doing that, if that'll work.
moving it up a year, if that's,
yeah, we can work. I mean, if that's the council's direction, we can work that into the budget and present that at the workshops and see if that's palatable. And if it is, it is, and if it's not, it's not.
it's a service that costs us money, but we have to provide for the city residents,
We could
And
take
we
the
know it's,
splash- We could take
you
the
know.
splash pad out, and then we would be able to afford an officer. And
Gotta
I'd be all-
do
I'd be
more
okay with
officers.
that.
We could give the officer a splash pad.
And I think the next step is, we did the staffing plan in 2019, I think, if we look at that, and we had to look at when the next, because that's all we went out was the 2024 for that next, we haven't got any pass further. And I just think from a staffing, like I know we've talked with Mike before, just, there's a curve on there of population and police service. So once we get 2 more officers, there's gonna be a stagnant time, meaning that population's gonna grow faster than it has before, that we were not gonna need somebody, so it's just because of how those shifts work, right? You put 2 people on, that's an extra person for 12 hours a day on each side, the whole year. So we can look at that, how that plays out as far as steps beyond the next one, right? So the next 2 at some point.
We got room to grow, we're not playing catch-up.
yeah.
So for now, the council is aware and agreeing that right now it's staffing 1 on the day. We fill in with the other people that we have, maybe it's the chief, the lieutenant, for during the day shift, and then 2 at night. We'll stick with that. That's the expectation right now, and then evaluate that come budget session in July for our first workshop.
For adding another
For
position.
adding another person that might alleviate
Yeah.
some of that overtime reduction in lieu of adding that other additional officer.
I'm good with that. If, Chief, you good with that?
Yeah.
Sounds like it would work.
Just so the council's okay with at least how we're operating now is we're running 1 officer on vacation time during the week, but Friday, Saturday, we're offering overtime to fill those shifts. That's what we've been doing.
That
Yeah.
sounds like the best plan, so.
Paint under hands, overtime, so. Yeah, a lot of money on overtime.
So then the other part of this is at goal setting, there was discussion on being part of the union negotiating team. Typically, union negotiating dates start getting discussed in June to take place in July for the first meeting. So looking for direction from council on if some or all of council wants to be involved in those union discussions. It doesn't have to be decided tonight. We do have quite a bit of time, but I know that at goal setting, it was discussed to be brought to the next cow.
I'd like, go ahead.
It's my personal opinion, but I think one or two at most. That's,
I think one, in my opinion, I'd like to see Councilman Gordon be the representative on both the police and Public Works.
I'm good with that. I'm not interested just because of conflict of interest. I'm a 49er, so I won't take part in that or put my name in the hat. So,
I'd be glad to do it if you guys want me to, I can.
I think it's wise to have at least one council member. It's not gonna hurt anything, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna help anything, but it's not gonna hurt anything. Where we have, so we do have, let's just say it, transparency issues.
yeah, Jimmy, you're not in a union, are you?
Yeah, he's in Jimmy's Pizza Union.
Yeah.
That's about it. But I just think it's, you know, it's a wise thing. And then, you know, he's pretty neutral on both parties, both sides of it, Public Works and PD, and I think he does have a fiscal, smart, you know, in mind for, you know, keeping things in check. That's my recommendation, anyway.
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, I'll do it. If you guys need me to, I'll be glad to do it.
I'm not sure if this has to go to council for a vote. Would you like to see that on consent as the negotiating team? Or,
I don't think it,
I don't think it necessarily has to, as long, if we don't
Just-
have, three, it's not a quorum, so we don't have to be doing anything in closed session with negotiations. Having one council member versus two does help a little bit with scheduling, but anything and everything can be done.
anything else to add?
No, the one thing I will add, if council does want to see, also, was the PD wage, was discussed, and I know that there were a lot of numbers thrown out, and I know, Mayor Johnson, you did provide information to council, that day with other, wages, and I did put that together, what we talked about at that meeting, into a table form, if you want that. We don't have to discuss it, but if you wanted the information that was discussed last meeting, including the wages and those ranks that we talked about, which I didn't have anything to hand out that meeting, I did put that together if you're interested in seeing it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'll kind of take one home with
Yeah,
me.
I can come pass it out.
Anything else to add?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Burgley and second by Councilman Lundin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, therefore we stand adjourned.
Thank you.